Right. Yeah. So I have been doing open source for the past about maybe close to 15 years now. I was contributing to Angular and other open source projects. I started a company, Rhyme.com, that Coursera acquired back in 2019, and eventually joined the Angular team. Now I'm the product lead for Angular and working on a bunch of other web development things at Google. Huh. Well, it's a long story, but when I was in between jobs, someone reached out to me and asked me, "Hey, do you want to start working on a startup together?" I was back in Bulgaria, and I said, "Well, sure." Like, you rarely get comments on someone asking you to start like join their startup when they're in Silicon Valley. But I was like, "Sure, let's start. Let's do that." And he was, "Okay, let's start working together from April 1st." Thinking that sounds even more suspicious. Like, that's April's Fool's Day. So I don't know if it's real, but we started working together, and I had to pick a front end framework. So I picked AngularJS back then, and I had to complete everything before my final exam at university. So I had about 2 months to build this whole Angular application without having too extensive experience in web development. And in these 2 months, I built everything and managed to also graduate university. So Angular was my lucky charm back then, and it has been continuing to be the one for the past like 8 years or so. Really excited about partial hydration. We're figuring out ways to make hydration more fine grained by also working very closely with Wiz. This is the framework team that is building this at Google, and they have been doing it for about 10 years. So they have a lot of expertise. Now we are joining, like teaming up so that we can introduce this feature to the open source community via Angular. Really excited about this one. And it goes really hand by hand with signals. Signals have like really critical place in the story. So these two features are my favorite right now. Yeah, that's a really good question. I before I joined Google and when I talk to people, it sometimes people get the impression that we're sure where we're going to be 15 years from now, and we're actually not really sure. We just know that the industry is evolving and there are certain needs for performance and for developer experience. So just by keeping this in mind, we make steady incremental steps in order to evolve the framework in the right direction. I have probably vision for Angular for the next 3 to 5 years, and after that, it's very vague. But in the next 3 to 5 years, Angular is going to be with fine-grained reactivity, so that you can build really fast applications that render quickly in the browser. It's going to have this fine-grained hydration that can go all the way even to resumability. Who knows? We're evaluating the trade-offs of developer experience and performance, and everything is going to work really well with Angular CLI, supported by the migrations in the ng update experience so that everyone can keep up to date with the latest improvements. I really like figuring out how different pieces fit together. It's like a puzzle, and it could be on different levels of abstraction. Could be just writing very beautiful code, individual functions that you compose together in order to build something more complicated. Could be on a more kind of high level architecture, how you combine different systems so that they can talk together, or even higher, how you can combine different products so that you can achieve something bigger. That's really exciting. It's really fun, very satisfying. I see that different frameworks are unifying on similar primitives right now, which is amazing. For example, we see that signals are in almost all major frameworks and are advancing in the standard. I also see how we are unifying on this fine-grained code loading. We're doing it slightly differently, but I see an opportunity there for convergence as well. So that's what I see right now. In the future also, we'll be getting some support from AI for sure in order to kind of reduce the boilerplate and the boring things that we're doing right now. So AI is going to give us a kickstart, and from there we can take it and make our applications awesome.